Okay, so welcome back, students. In our last session, we were looking at how you place the drawings on sheet and scale them, lock the viewports, refresh the viewport, and so on and so forth. Now we want to look at how you get these drawings outputted in PDF, as if you're printing it. So first of all, you need to ensure that you are on the layout that you want to do that to. We had two layouts in the last session, but both of them are the same. So what I will do is just remove one of them, and we only have one since they are both the same. And now we're going to look at how you plot this to PDF in monochrome. All right. So to do that, we will go to our big A application menu, and you could find print. You can either click print directly here, or you can go into the sub menu and choose plot. By virtue of clicking on print, you are doing the first of the many options, which is plot. Or you could click on your printer icon, which is plot up there as the shortcut tip. And you could go to Control P, as other programs have done it. You could right click on the layout tab and choose plot. Or you could hover over the file tab and you get the thumbnail view. You have two print options. This one is to plot and this one is to publish. We won't focus on the publish. So we're just going to click on plot or whichever method. And what it will do is to launch the plot dialog box. Now notice it is telling you that you're plotting the floor and foundation plan. So the same name that you gave the tab down here, it now appears to say that that's what you're plotting. So the first thing we want to do is to choose, we are skipping this page setup, we won't go into that. Is the first thing we want to choose is what plotter or printer we want to print this thing on. So I'm going to expand that list. You'll notice that you get several printer options. The ones that are from the top coming down to here on my machine, these are unique to my machine based on the software that I have installed or which version of Windows you get some default printer option. But these, starting with AutoCAD PDF general documentation, going all the way down to this one, are plotters that were inserted or installed with the software. You can tell that the icons are different. These look more like printer and these look more like plotter. All right, so right now I really want to choose a plotter called DWG to PDF. So what this will literally do, it will output the drawing in PDF. I don't have to have a special PDF writer in order to do this. Autodesk has created a printer option that will take care of that. It will automatically convert the drawing from a DWG format to a PDF format. So I'm clicking on that one. All right, I'm not going into the options here. We'll just leave the default. Now, by virtue of choosing that printer, it now populates in this area all the sheet size that are supported by that printer. So if you notice, you get a very long list as opposed to what would have been there before. So we have the same sheet size we spoke about earlier. Notice you have the ISO, although you have some B ones, but we're accustomed to the A series. So this is the A0 right up to A4 being the smallest. And then you have the full bleed version of it, and you have those that are not full bleed. So you have the Arch full bleed, you have the ANSI full bleed, and you have the ISOs and the same Arch and the ANSI again, but not as full bleed. And the difference is, you will see, if I were to hover over this preview here, you notice it's telling me that the paper size is 594 by 841 millimeter, but the printable area is no more than 584, approximately 10 millimeters or so shorter by that side, on that side. And the other side, 841, 807. So you know you're losing quite a bit of paper there because the margin would have been that dotted line that we would have seen going around the border. Or by virtue of changing this paper size, it will change the margin. So we want to use one of the full bleed version that will give us literally no margin. And I'll be able to show you the printable area on that one as well. And you can get your boundary closer to the edge of the paper. So if I click here and look for, scroll up to the top, the ISOs in the A1 family, you will notice there is ISO A1 841 by 594. I'm using the landscape orientation. So when I hover over it, you will notice that literally the size of the paper is also the print area size. So there is literally no margin. So you can put more things on this sheet of paper because you don't have any margin. So that's why I choose the full view. Now coming down, there's the option for what to print, and layout is the default. There are 4 options: display, extent, layout, and window. Now it would be extents or layout you will be focusing on. But let's talk about layout first. Now if I choose to use layout, let's look at the print preview. So far, you notice you're seeing the sheet, but look, this side is more than this size over there, and top is more than down here. So you basically want to ensure that your drawing is centered on the sheet. So to do that, you press escape, and then you would now have to come up with values to push this over in the X axis and this one in the Y as well. So let me exaggerate that a bit. If I were to put 50 there, 50 millimeters, click OK, not OK, rather preview, just to see, you notice it now pushed that one over. So you'd have to basically work out those distances to get the thing centered, which is why I really don't like the layout option. Let me press escape. So my preference is to just use the extent, because when it's on layout, you notice this area is grayed out. It can't do anything. But if I go to layout and click on, not layout, extent rather, and then click on center, what do you notice? Automatically work out what that margin would have to be. What's the distance from the edge of the paper? All right. So you have the option to record these numbers and then come here and choose layout and then put them back. But there's no need. But there's a drawback though. One thing you need to ensure, if you're going to use extent, and this is where it differs between layout and extent. If you're going to use layout, no problem. You just everything print edge to edge. But if you're going to use extent, you have to be careful that you don't put any viewports off the sheet, because what it's going to do literally is to fit everything within that window. And if parts of the things are off screen, off the sheet, it's going to accommodate those in on the sheet, and it's going to center that, and it might show the center off. So you have to make sure that none of your viewports come off the sheet if you're going to do that. Keep them within the sheet. Then now you can just check that box to tell it to center it, and look at your print preview. Much balanced than before, right? So it's now centered. Now the other thing I want to draw to your attention is right now we're actually seeing the drawings. We're not seeing the viewport, all because it is now using the depth point layer, which is non-plateau. So we are okay, our drawing is not overlapping. Now, let me press escape. And then we're gonna now look at how you could get everything to be printed in one color. Escape. Now, if I come here and then go over here next, but down here it says plot scale. You notice the default is 1:1. And that is why the print preview display the drawing exactly how they are on the sheet. Now, if you decide you're gonna come here and scale the thing 1 in 50, what you're literally doing is scaling the drawing again. If you check your print preview, everything is too small because you've scaled the drawing. And then on top of that, you come back and scale the sheet. So everything is too small. So by right, I just press escape to get back to here. This should be saying 1:1. So what you're literally saying is you're printing the sheet 100% how it looks right now. right? If you choose 1 in 50, then you're printing it half the size of the sheet. So you don't really want to do that or smaller than it should be. So you want to keep it 1 to 1 so everything fits, just like how it was placed on the sheet. Because the viewports were already scaled and locked. They can't change. And you would use fit to paper if you're using a paper edge. You just want things to fit on a space. You don't care about scale, they just find a scale on it. Will fit it on the paper. But that's mostly if you're printing from your model environment. You're printing from our layout view. So we keep it at 1 to 1. Then no, over on the top right here, if you're not seeing this area of the screen, it's quite likely that this needs to be expanded like that. So you would click on that and it expands it out. So at the top here, we are seeing what we call plot style pen assignment. Now, because it is saying none, it did not change our plot style. Everything maintained how it was. So all the layers look like how they would have looked in the other environment. But the software comes with some preset plot styles. So for example, monocle. Now mono means one. So literally what the software has done, there are 255 colors and every single color was assigned to print black automatically. So when I do that and check my print preview again, you can tell the difference that only the wall lines are as heavy as it is. And of course, we know that line weight is a factor here, which we'll talk about. But everything is in black, one color. Everything looks nice and clean, right? Because we're using monochrome. And the line weight for the wall is heavier than the other ones. And that is because we cut through that. So when you cut through something, you will put a heavier line weight so that it shows as shut as such. We didn't cut through the floor. We are looking down on the floor. So we don't expect the line weight here to be as heavy as the wall. So these were 0.5, but this one was using the default, which is 0.15. All right, so everything is now in one color. So I press escape, and there's the option here because it was showing our line weight, but it's because this one is on. It's not because we had turned on the line weight icon. We could turn that off and it will still display. So if I do this and say don't show the plot object line weight and click the print preview, everything now looks flat, the same line weight. There's no depth to the drawing because you want to be able to tell what is happening. There's depth to it because the cut went through the wall above your windowsill. So whatever you slice through, you want to now have a heavier line weight for it to display that. So for that reason, press escape, we're going to put this back. So by default, it is turned on. So when you check your preview, everything works out accordingly, where line weight will be able to tell the difference so you can get a depth or feel of that drawing. All right, so let me escape. And now we're going to look at how you get this out to the PDF. And all it takes is just for you to click on that button for OK. If you press apply to layout, what it will do, it now save all of these settings to that layout. Now, if I were to click OK, you will now observe that it brought up a dialog box for me to save something in. And when we examine carefully, we realize that it's now saving thing in PDF. PDF means portable document format. Just about any and everybody have this on their machine, so they'll be able to read this drawing without having the software on their machine. So you notice it gives it a name, which is the same as the file name, 1 bedroom flat, Sunday, modify, floor and foundation plan. So the file name stops here at modify, and then the tab name is added to the file name. Okay, so if I were to browse to a location which I intend to save it, I'll just drop it on my desktop for ease of access and hit that save button. Immediately you will notice that the drawing is now output in PDF. So let me expand this, but I need to share that screen with you so that you'll be able to, I'll be able to to show you that the drawing is now output in PDF. So I'll share this screen with you. Right, so this is what we're seeing. And if you were to zoom in on this, you're seeing the very same thing that we were seeing before, but now in PDF. You're seeing the plot style showing up, all your line weight and everything is displaying clearly. And now you have a sheet output in PDF. Your title block and everything is showing up. All right. Now, basically, this could be printed on any plotter or any printer that can accommodate this size paper. You can even turn on and off layers in Adobe, believe it or not. So if you come here, there's this option at the side here for layers. And look at this. I could turn off my doors, turn them on. What about my text? I could do that. I could do it likewise for my windows and my doors. All right? All these things, where we don't have any fixtures in this drawing, no stiffness, but we have fixtures we could turn on and off. The one that usually works a little different is the dimension. It's usually these two things get tied up in it. So you turn it off and only the lines and the text went, and the architectural tick are now in the 0 layer. So you basically can toggle your layers on and off. All right, so this is how you output your drawing in PDF. So of course, that takes us to the end of how that is done. In our next session, we will pick up with whatever it is that we're going to be dealing with next. All right, so this has brought us to the end of today's lesson. Thanks for watching. I hope you did learn something.